For many drivers in the area Lodgebox series, we head to Pocono Raceway, and it's the last solid opportunity for them to secure a win before we head on to Talladega, where many things are unknown, and then we begin the playoffs. So drivers are looking for their last opportunity to grab a win here, and we'll see who's going to be the one to do it and come out on top here at Pocono Raceway. My name is Vinny DeCuna, here with Connor Horn and Hunter Slepley as per usual. And guys, glad to have you back in the booth with me for what we should expect to be a fantastic race.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Finian. I haven't been here in a while, but it seems like James Scully and Alan Elwood have firmly taken control of the series, so this is going to be a pretty fun race, in my opinion. I always love coming to Pocono personally. I love driving it. I don't have the best luck at these tracks. I did not have a good time here at Road to Pro, but this is one of the more fun tracks and on the schedule I like to drive. And Hunter, very famously, it's one of the most unique tracks on any schedule.
Yes, it is. There are 3 different turns here. 3, not 4, 3, and they're all modeled after different racetracks. Got to go over to turn 1, where it's modeled after Trenton Speedway. Turn 2, the tunnel turn, modeled after Indianapolis. And turn 3 is the Milwaukee Mile. And I gotta say, whenever I did go to Pocono last season, the race that I enjoyed the most was the Xfinity Series and the Xfinity cars. Might be a little biased because I saw some action happen right in front of me right before pit entry, and then I got to see Noah Gragson, one of my favorite drivers at the time in the Xfinity Series, now Cup driver, but nonetheless, the racing was exciting. I'm kind of expecting the same thing here tonight from Long Pond, Pennsylvania.
And even as before we get going down to the track, we'll take a look at the playoff picture heading into the penultimate race before the playoffs begin. You can see James Scully, Alan Elwood, as Connor alluded to earlier, dominating most of the season so far, 4 and 3 wins apiece. Then you have Tommy Ryan and John Furness, who have also claimed victory here to get themselves up in the standings. Then you got guys like Travis Beckner, Chris Rabel, and Travis Beckner and Chris Rabel doing pretty well in the points, and they have everyone else close on the bubble.
Yeah, about time. We knew John Furness could do it. It took until, I believe, New Hampshire to do it, but finally got that win, locked his way in, and a few guys who are pretty much locked in. Travis Beckner, Chris Rail, we were talking about 50-plus over the cut line, but you never know what could happen in the final 2 races. And then you get back to Garrett Grant, Greg Mitchell, Rob Ackley, Colin Fambro. Those guys really need something good to happen. Chandler Senesac right on the cut line, only 4 points separating Senesac from Cameron Hearn. Very surprised to still see Cameron Hearn down there. Ricky Harden, Weishart, another surprise to see him down to 15th. Hunter, a lot of these guys got to get something going, but once you get under Weishart, it's pretty much already must win.
Yeah, not 100% sure if Weishart is racing tonight. I don't know if he's in the session.
He is. He's currently 3rd on the standings.
Oh, on the practice chart. Okay.
Yeah, the practice chart.
He expressed some discomfort in this track, saying that he probably wasn't going to race it, but it seems like I'm wrong in that he's in. But I'd say from Garrett Grant on down to David Weishart is really where you're in a sticky situation. You don't want to put yourself in a must-win at Talladega, like Forrest Smith, Pierce Moffitt, those guys on back. They're essentially in a must-win, and got to go back because Area was here back in Season 1, and David Weishart ended up winning that race, so he won the Cup race and the Lodgebox race. Only led 16 laps, though, so the driver who led the most laps was actually Alan Elwood, finished 10th. So the record goes to show that you don't have to lead the most laps here. You just got to lead the last one, and that's what Weishart did a season ago. We'll see if he can do that again tonight at Pocono.
Yeah, indeed. And take a look at the team standings really quickly before we get back going. David Weishart Racing and Sky Motorsports both tied with 4 wins apiece. However, not tied when it comes down to the points, which actually matter. Weishart Racing about an 80-some-odd point lead over Sky Motorsports. See, they can continue that going tonight. Then keeping it real, and Fazekas Motorsports pretty close behind with 706 and 700 points apiece.
Yeah, Fazekas Motorsports keeping it real. Sky Motorsports, that's where I'm really looking. Obviously, they want to catch up to DWR at the top, but only 12 points separating those 3 teams is pretty impressive. Then it gets pretty spread out. Unacceptable Racing, Darnell Racing, Miller Racing, Peak Racing, those 2 only separated by 6 points, 7th and 8th. And you get down the order a little bit more spread out, and Century United Motorsports hanging in there with 15 points. They're just creeping up on the rest of the competition here on race 10.
Indeed, they are. I don't think they've been here since week 2, though, so you never know. Wilder things have happened here in the past, but we'll get a good look of it here as we look at James Scioli. As mentioned, he's one of the top drivers in the Lodgebox series. He's got 4 wins on the season, the most recent coming at Charlotte. Going to be interesting to see how he does here at Pocono. Going back to season 1, he actually finished runner-up here, so maybe he can finish a spot better. Shane Therian looking to get some momentum rolling. Coming up on Talladega next week, and he won the only other restrictor plate race this season at Daytona. And as mentioned, David Weishart always seems to find himself in the third spot.
I mean, he's got 2 3s on the side of the car. You got to mean something. But yeah, unfortunately, he finds himself in third place a little too often, probably for his liking. Did really well here. Has done really well in the last few weeks in the area series in general. So we'll see if any luck comes his way. Especially talked about him on the outside looking in. Has a shot. He's pretty quick here this week. Might have a chance to get that win.
We'll see what he can do. Obviously, like we said, third on the timing sheet, looking very, very fast. As I believe, is Atlanta technically a restricted plate race? Because Tommy Ryan did win that, I thought.
It pretty much is now, right?
I guess, but Theoreens is a bit more legit. Sorry, Tommy. I just don't like Atlanta. But Alan Elwood, we take a look here. Another driver I expect to contend. A little lower on the time sheet. 5th place as he comes out of turn 1 is where we really get to see if we were able to look on board. Someone just slapped the wall, but when we go to look on board, you can really see how unique all 3 turns, or if you're Carl Edwards, how all 6 turns look very different on board when you're trying to drive this track, Hunter.
Oh no, Edwards thinks that there's 6 turns here.
You never saw that? You never saw that? He claimed there was 6. That was his.
I mean, by the rest of NASCAR's logic, technically there should be 6 turns here. Should be what turn 7?
If we were gonna look at it that way, I'd say 5 because tunnel turn's not big enough to even count as 2.
Well, I've heard some drivers say that it's a road course because you have to downshift, and that is probably the worst thing I've ever heard.
It's definitely by literal definition, it's not a road course, so that's just wrong.
That's definitely a take, not a good one, but definitely
if we're going
a take.
if we're going with that logic, then in the Cup Series this past season, I guess Martinsville was a road course because you had the downshift and upshift there too.
Well, you had to do it at Darlington. Darlington's a road course. Basically, any track that's unique is a road course. I drove this track in like a ride-along program like 2 years ago, and I can confirm it's not a road course.
There's a road course portion in the infield, but
They didn't repave that though.
Yeah, I was going to say it's not on this version of the track, unfortunately. So look at Cameron Hearn in the 67 out on the racetrack. One of those drivers, if I'm not mistaken, on the outside looking in as well, which is kind of surprising to say. I would have thought he would be locked in by this point in the standings. Currently sitting 13th in the points, I believe.
Not even just a surprise that he's not, let alone even be above the cut line or be locked in. It's just surprising that he's not above the cut line at all. He's had plenty of chances to win races. I think back to IRP, had a really good shot there that got taken away from him at the end. He's had things go literally the exact opposite of what would go his way. So it's sort of a shame that he's in this position, but we know he's still got speed. 8th on the timing sheet right now, but I know he can get something going here. He's got 2 races to do it as we get to the end of practice and go into qualifying, Hunter.
Qualifying is indeed going to be an interesting part in how this is done. I believe David Weishart got 2nd here, so the winner didn't come from the pole, at least from the first season. You can double check that real quick, but I'm excited to see how qualifying is going to go.
The qualifying complete. You can see the track completely cast in shadow. Take a look at the weather. We took a look at threw it up on the graphic before we went over the rest of the points and everything. In practice, it was 107 on the track. It's just ticked down to 100 flat in the track temp. So I'm sure these guys will enjoy some extra grip. And some guys already out there. James Scioli in the number 7.
See what he can do. I don't know if I've ever even qualified here. I've rarely tried to because it takes so long to qualify here, and there's so many, I wouldn't say so many chances to make the mistake, but it seems easier to make the mistake than what you think. I know it's kind of hard to explain because there's really only 3 turns, but it still feels like there's so much less room for error here.
Because of how tight the corners are with how little banking there is, as we're riding on board with Scioli here. This is the most banked part of the racetrack over here, turn 1, as mentioned. Modeled after Trenton Speedway, kind of a 1 groove, maybe 2 groove turn here is where you're coming through, and then down the first of 2 back straightaways. The speed is really loose there. And then, as mentioned, a tunnel turn modeled after Indianapolis, only 8 degrees of banking, but you're going so fast there, you don't really have any room to go too wide. Some drivers try to do that in the Cup Series, and we had a big one in the middle of that tunnel turn, so I'd keep an eye on that. as the tricky spot at the tricky triangle. And over here, turn 3, modeled after the Milwaukee Mile. It's very wide, left turn, only 6 degrees though. So again, unless you have a really solid run on the outside, it's mostly a one-groove track all the way around.
And James Kelly going to come across the line now in the number 7 machine. We'll see where he ends up on the timing sheets. Be up on pole. I mean, obviously, he'll be up first for now. We'll see how long it'll last. David Weishart immediately coming across the line to overtake him in the number 33 machine. Do we expect these guys to go any faster on lap number 2?
I wouldn't think so, but it looks like David Weishart, who's on the provisional pole for the time being, he is trying a second lap. Colin Fambro is trying a second lap, so maybe they think they can get something else out of it as we see Weishart go down Long Pond here into the tunnel turn. It's sort of odd taking the tunnel turn. He's going to go really wide entry. I think he's missed the apex, and I don't think he'll improve just based on what I saw there, but because I'd usually like to take that tunnel turn a little bit closer to the apron, but he was not really close to that as we see Alan Elwood seeing if he's starting his lap. He's actually completing his first lap. Used all of the track at turn number 3. We'll see what he puts down here. 55.045, good enough for 6th for the time being.
6th fastest at the moment. Oh, sorry to cut you off, Hunter.
I was going to say, Alan Elwood actually holds the track record here from season 1. 54.530 is the record, and these guys are a little bit off that. We're seeing 54.93 from Furness as the top time, and looks like Therian won't get that. Harden is in the wall, well, near the wall, spun out. Travis Beckner is yet to come out to complete or start a lap. Bryce Ennis to complete a lap, 13th quick.
Yeah, it looks like a lot of these guys are not going faster on their second lap. I think safe to assume lap 1's going to be your one and only good lap. Taking a look at other guys putting a lap down. Tom Bourne currently on lap number 2. Be able to put down a complete lap on his first run. Ooh, got really close to the wall there as well.
Oh, very, very close. It seems like these guys are trying to get everything they can, both laps, but they just can't push as hard as they did on that first lap. They're just getting so close to the wall. See what Tom Bourne does into the tunnel turn here. He's going to... That's where I would usually want to go. Maybe graze the apron with the left sides. Oddly enough, in my experience, it usually helps, but my experience is a lot more in a truck than it is an Xfinity car, although looked like a pretty solid job from Bourne. And then here, you kind of want a late entry into turn number 3. You want to be on the curbing a little bit there as much as possible. You can see the 16 just sliding all the way through the exit, but he's able to at least save it and put another time down. It's going to jump him up all the way to 5th quickest, so really good recovery lap for Tom Bourne.
Yeah, solid indeed, and a little bit of an improvement for Furness, continuing to hold on to that top spot of 54.9 as we're crossing the halfway portion of qualifying. And Ed Robertson coming out of turn 3. What, turn 4? Yes, only 3 turns, not 4.
Or 6.
There's a sign at 6. Not a road course either.
What if we ran it backwards? Would it be a road course then?
I wouldn't mind seeing them run it backwards.
That's an interesting one. I haven't heard that suggestion before. Let's run it backwards.
Well, Tiburon used to be a fantasy track. Yeah, that should be a reality. Along with the no restrictor plate rule that they used in those old games.
Travis,
who else is on the track? Oh, there's Travis Beckner.
Yeah, Travis Beckner coming across the line, 55, almost 55 flat. Not quite fast enough for me near the front, but it will be 8th place at the moment. Ricky Harden, one of the last guys out there on the track, trying to put a time down. Many drivers electing not to qualify, which I find kind of interesting.
It's more than normal for sure. I believe I only see 21 times on right now. Ricky Harden's not going to get one down. That was going to be his next lap. That's going to be a hard hit
That's where we last saw him, too. We saw him spinning out of turn I almost said turn 4. Spinning out of turn 3 and into the pit lane.
Finian, where are we?
You know what? That's gonna be another part that we're gonna have to keep an eye out for tonight. Drivers getting too close to that wall, spin out near that pit entrance. As I mentioned, I was at Pocono for the Xfinity race back in July, and a couple of those crashes in that race happened coming out of turn 3, and drivers getting close to hitting that pit wall, which is kind of why we saw Jeb Burton go upside down, because he didn't know if he wanted to go down pit road or try to avoid the car. Ended up flipping the car, not going down pit road, and flipped over, which is one of the craziest things I've ever seen.
Which only happened because they I think lengthened that pit wall because of the instance 7 years ago at that point with I think it might have been Jeb Burton as well.
It
Had
was
one in
Jeb Burton.
practice, and
It was
Casey
Jeb
Kane
Burton in
in the
practice,
race.
Casey Kane in the race. Yep, and Kane's was way worse because it happened during the race. So
An
all those
active
people
pit
down on
road,
pit.
yeah.
Not to mention there were helmets on top of the pit wall because you're not expecting a race car to come spin at you 150 miles an hour.
Note
Yeah,
to
they
self,
did
keep your
extend that.
helmets to yourself.
They did extend that pit wall, so they're going to cut it close if they're going to spin out towards the pit entrance.
Across the line for the number 25, Brian Chambliss. Not going to be probably the time you would have liked. Going to be pretty much smack dab in the middle of the field in 12th place. Paul Irvin, one of the drivers, now trying to put a time down. He actually already went down for an attempt. Saw the pace increase significantly. I assume he spun, so he's getting back out there for a second attempt.
Yes, a 25.9 is not possible, even in a redacted car. I don't know if I can say the name. It's my first broadcast as that was implemented. Hey, I'm
No,
just
you can
trying to
say it.
follow
I don't
rules.
think. I doubt they're
I know.
monitoring each of these broadcasts. That would be really crazy. I know
I'm
they're monitoring
trying
the
not to have
forums.
the FBI open up and come through my 2 windows. I'm just being safe, okay? But yes, like you were talking about, I assume Irvin spun. We didn't see it. I think he should have time for this one lap. He's really the only one on track. Everyone else, there isn't even anyone else on track setting laps. It's just going to be the 48 of the track all to himself.
Yeah, he'll have plenty of time to come through and complete one lap too. I'm not 100% sure, but over here looking at what we've got, less than 2 minutes here on the board. Colin Fambro's third quickest, and he's had a interesting stretch this last 5 races or so. Well, 5 races before Phoenix, New Hampshire. He finished 19th, 12th, 16th, 24th, and then just last week in New Hampshire got a top 5 finish. But he's always qualified good. Qualified inside the top 10 in each of the last 6 races, but just needs those finishes to boost some confidence and momentum heading into the postseason. And right now, he's looking to start P3 in this race.
Yeah, I mean, hey, it's the qualifying doesn't pay you any points, really. It's really where you finish that matters the most, whether or not you can finish and seal the deal. See, for Paul Irvin, you can seal the deal at least in qualifying here in the 48, rounding through 3. Nice and tidy on the line. Gives it plenty of space on the exit.
Yeah, it looked like it was 4-wheel drifting all the way through turn 3, but he kept it under him. 55.289 is not going to move him too much further up the order. It's going to be 18th, and that's going back to Fambro. Pretty important for him to be at the front for the beginning of this race. He's only 9 to a good, so he's nowhere near safe in the points right now. So anything being near the front in any capacity is really good for him.
Yeah, we always talk about the fact too that you cannot bet on Talladega, Hunter, no matter what. I mean, if you're one of the guys that really are not, you don't have a solid shot at getting a win at a conventional oval, regular track or road course, then Talladega might be the track you have your circled on your calendar. But I think for most of these drivers, they don't want to bet on it.
No, not really. I mean, unless you are a super speedway god like Shane Therian over here, or Travis Beckner, maybe Area 500 winner. But yeah, you don't want to rely on Talladega as your only opportunity. And then if you don't win, it's like, oh man, well, I should have won that. It's like, no, you should have won the other 11 races you had an opportunity in. But we're over here. Qualifying is about to wrap up. Gotta get to the grid. One guy I'd keep an eye on, Garrett Grant over here for. I believe it's David Weishart Racing. He finished 5th earlier in the week here at Pocono, and he's starting 15th, but I'd keep an eye on him because, like I mentioned, it doesn't matter where you start. It only matters where you finish. He started 33rd in the Cup race, got a top 5. I'd keep an eye on Garrett Grant here.
And qualifying is officially complete. And before we get to our starting grid, I'm going to mention our starting grid sponsor. Fans, be sure to visit Roasted Gems Coffee for some of the finest coffee from all over the world. Use discount code AREA iRacing for 10% off your order at roastedgems.com. That's again Roasted Gems Coffee, your starting grid sponsor. So can't wait to see these guys get ready and down to the track. Just waiting for the warm-up period to end. Any driver in particular you guys have your eyes set on? Any driver circle you think might get the job done, get a win? Potentially either a driver that's already got a win or a first-time winner of the season.
I'm looking at Tom Board. He qualified 5th, had really good practice times. I think it's time for him to get a W in that column. I'm looking at Tom Bourne tonight.
I'm going to go ahead and stick with Alan Elwood on this one. He seemed like he had a really good car here back in 2 seasons ago, back in season 1, and you can't count him out. I mean, he's fast everywhere. I'm sure that during the race he'll find some speed to get up towards the front and take charge of this thing.
I think for me, I'm going to be looking at David Weishart in the 33. We're talking, I think, Hunter, you're mentioning that. Wasn't particularly big fan of this place. I think it was something along the lines you're saying like that. But clearly has the pace for it. Wasn't like his chances. He's got a shot. Qualified in second place, so I think he's going to be able to try to seal the deal here, get that win, and lock himself into the playoffs.
Yeah, I'll say David Weishart was not a fan of heading into tonight or the the track or the car and how it handled, but nonetheless, it's always those who don't like the car or the track that always seem to run well.
I can relate to that. I hate Bristol, but I run okay there. Same thing with Darlington. I won races there. I couldn't tell you how. I'm a fish out of water at that track.
See, now I hate New Hampshire, but I always still suck in New Hampshire. I don't know what that says about me as a driver. I used to hate Dover, but I actually kind of liked it because I also started getting a lot better at it. I think from just doing road courses better and learning how to take corners better, I ended up started doing better at Dover.
You saying Dover's a road course?
In my humble opinion, I guess it is.
Right, take that how you will, viewers at home.
And also go through your starting lineup here before these guys get rolling. On pole, as we mentioned before, it's going to be John Furness and David Weishart leading the field down to green in row number 2. Connor?
Colin Fambro and Alan Elwood on row number 2, and John Furness's pole time 6/100ths faster than David Weishart, so he got it by a pretty good margin, but Fambro and Elwood right behind them on row number 2.
Moving on back to row number 3, it's going to be Tom Bourne in the number 16 machine. Cameron Hearn in the 6-7 is going to be next to him in 6th place.
Then row number 4, Shane Theron in that 38 machine alongside him, the 27, the recognizable 27 of Travis Beckner in 8th.
Moving on back to 9th place, it's going to be Justin Munsell in the number 20 machine. Chris Rabel in the 29 is going to be next to him in 10th place.
Row 4, by the way, Theron and Beckner, they ran the same lap, 55.030, but out of row 4, let's go to row number 6, just outside the top 10. James Scarlett in the 7, dominating the series this year. We'll see if we can get another W. And Brian Chambliss just looking for one alongside him in 12th.
Back in 13th is going to be Greg Mitchell in the number 2 machine. Ed Robertson in the 64 is going to be lined up in 14th.
The 15th place, the 5 machine of Garrett Grant. 16th alongside him is the 14 of Rob Ackley.
Moving on back to 17th place, it's going to be Bryce Senesac in the 09 machine. Paul Swervin Irvin is going to be lined up next to him in the 48 in 18th place.
Rounding out the top 20 is going to be Forrest Smith in the 84 machine and Mike Tellier in that 47 machine.
Moving on back to 21st, it's going to be Jeff Ryan in the 37 machine. Jeremy Rigney is going to be lined up in the 41 in 22nd.
And then 23rd place is going to be Matthew Cochran in the 4 Chevrolet Camaro. And then Seth Noel is actually going to be lining up at the back of the grid in 29th. But Tommy Ryan is going to be the one who's actually lining up 24th.
Moving back, we'll just kind of go through it as it is here. It'll be slightly out of order here. Tommy Ryan's going to be lined up in 25th. Ricky Harden in 26th in the 15.
Let's see. Ricky Harden, yep, 26. And then right behind them is, let's see, one of Steve Durham is going to be lining up there in one of the few Mustangs in the field. And then Justin Lemke is going to be back there. And rounding out the rest of this 30-car field, Justin Lemke, Jacob Hudson, James Cooey.
Round out your field, we got 30 cars here lined up. You can see everyone catching up to the field. Before we get going, take a look at the weather we have for the race. Gone back up now. The track's been bathed in some sunlight. 106 degrees on the track. A little bit slick, not too terrible for these drivers. Should be able to manage, but definitely something to keep an eye on, especially considering guys like James Scarlett. We saw him hacking at the wheel in qualifying when he got out there, so definitely something to keep an eye on. Want to manage those tires and the heat in them.
And it's not going to really be improved by the sun getting, sun beating down on the track and being in dirty air around a bunch of other cars. You're going to have to really be careful in these first few laps, especially through a tunnel turn on lap 1, Hunter.
I hope our virtual fans brought sunscreen because this is the same exact weather that was in the July race in real life. I got sunburned really bad. So I'm hoping that they brought some sunblock and that they can stay cool during these next 70 laps.
Indeed, we'll see if the drivers can keep cool with their tempers. We'll see what happens here as the championship is winding down. Green flag in the air here at Pocono.
car on the wall already.
Is that
Rigney?
Rumpy? No, it was Rigney. You're right.
Yeah, Jeremy, really heavy contact. We remain green at the moment in his 41, already off to a bad start tonight. Great start for the 29, John Furness trying to break away from the rest of the field. Colin Fambro up a spot over David Weishart. And there you see Alan Elwood in behind trying to make a move to the inside of the 33 Weishart.
Yeah, if you run the wrong line in turn one, there's a bump you can hit, and it'll upset the car badly. Weishart hit that, shot him up the track, lost him to runner-up spot, but looks like he's going to have to settle in the 4th position. Elwood gets by. Hearn had a really bad run out of turn number 3 as Bourne gets by him, and Travis Beckner lining up a run. Get through the first lap mostly clean except for Rigney.
Yeah, you do not want to get off a corner with a terrible run or like getting really loose or scraping the wall, because that's going to kill you down these straightaways. This first straightaway over here is about, I'd say, half a mile to 3/4 of a mile long. It is a grueling drive if you do not get off of any of the corners that good.
Taking a look at the top, Alan Elwood still mounting pressure. He got past 33 pretty quickly, already up to the back of Colin Fambro, trying to get past, see if he can have a crack at the 28. He's going to sit in behind for now, not going to make a move.
I was going to wait to try to get the run down the front straightaway. Fambro misses the bottom. Elwood's going to get a good run because of that, but not enough to get alongside, although he still does have the better run down the straightaway. See if he wants to pull out to make the pass now. Still got the run. Looks like he's just going to push the 18 down into turn number 1 a little faster than he wants to go, as this is the closest battle, except for Justin Munsell being alongside James Scioli.
Yeah, not really a whole lot you can do there if you're Alan Elwood. We're going to see this all day long. We're going to see drivers just keeping it straight down the straightaway, not trying to force any side-by-side action, because that's going to help everyone else behind you trying to get up to you.
Going to see how patient these guys are going to be. Here's Alan Elwood still mounting the pressure in behind. Looking a little bit further back, saw some battling around here, around where James Scioli's hanging out, currently sitting back in 12th place. Justin Munsell is making some moves, and actually Scioli now making a move on the 20 machine to the inside.
And then Elwood's going to go to the inside of Fambro at the same time. Wanted to do it in turn number 3. It looks like he's going to do it. Elwood on the bottom. So tough to make that pass down there. That's why you didn't see him pulling out earlier, because it's so hard to complete that pass. If you don't complete that pass, you're in a little bit of trouble to get past back, but I don't think Fambro's going to have anything to do with him. 49's actually got a much bigger run in the turn number 1, even with the run out of the bottom. And Fambro shoots way up the track. He hit that bump, and here comes Tom Bourne.
Yeah,
Tom Bourne looking to get past Weishart, and he did. Now he's looking to get past Colin Fambro, and now we've got quite a few battles going on here inside the top 5, and Hearn's going to tuck back in line. It's going to be interesting here, side by side, heading in the tunnel turn.
Really, it's going to be interesting to see how hard these guys are going to fight, especially in turn 2. Can get so tricky to try to maintain a fight down, especially in these early laps. But the 16 Tom Bourne still in it, trying to make a move on Weishart entering turn 3. And you got also Cameron Hearn sitting behind, waiting in the wings.
He's trying hard to clear the 33 back, which he does, but I think that was Weishart just setting him up for the crossover, and there it is. The 33 is going to be on the attack to the inside now as Cameron Hearn tries to get in line with that 33 with the better run, the better draft, also protecting a little bit from Travis Beckner's. The 33, Weishart trying to get there, but not quite fully alongside. Gets to the door, the 16 there. Oh, and there goes Bourne up the track again. That bump is catching people out early.
Just a little wiggle. Weishart's going to almost clear him. He's going to have a little bit of a run here. And something that always amazes me still is that Hearn and Weishart are essentially teammates. Hearn races for David Weishart Racing in the Lodgebox series, so he's helping him down the straightaway into the tunnel turn. Not going to clear him just yet. Tom Bourne still fighting on the outside. Beckner now with a run to the inside of Hearn.
Yeah, you saw that David Weishart got a little bit tight on the exit of turn 2. Had to walk up the hill, almost went flying to the 60, had to back off. So he lost that spot. Now Hearn, as you mentioned, trying to make and mount a charge. Ooh, and the 64 of Ed Robertson down to pit lane. Wonder what that's all about.
That is lap 5 very early, so don't know what that could be about. Not like he was running bad either. Running in the top 10, running for the top 10, definitely top 15, so we'll see what happens with him. And looking at Cameron Hearn battling on the outside for what is going to be the 5th position right now. He's really in a good point spot, not only because he's not too far behind the cut line, but one of the guys he was fighting on the cut line, Brian Chambliss, seemed like he dropped out because of the internet. He's back in the race, but he's 29, 3 laps down, so that's a lot of points being made up on the 25 right now, and it's not good for Chambliss, who came in today 8 above the cut line.
Well, I'm not sure if Robertson he's left the session or if he's pitting for fuel, because I talked to some of the drivers down in the DWR chat, and they said that fuel run here is looking like, if you go the distance, about 35 laps. So unless he's thinking this thing's going to go caution-free, pit now, get some fuel in. I'm not really sure what that...
Yeah, he's still going to be short, right?
It looked like he might have sped or
something.
something.
No, he wouldn't be short. But yeah, I don't know. That's... It's a bit bold to try to bet on that going green. So far, so good. We've gotten through the initial stages of this, although we still very much have a chance of a caution. You can see this very tight-knit group here from Colin Famber all the way back to, I want to say, about Rob Ackley back in, Garrett Grant, 13. Actually, in the number 5, yeah, around 13, 14. So all in one tight-knit group, duking it out together. One mistake from a driver here, pushing a little too hard, going to bring out a caution.
Well, it's not going to matter. Ed Robertson must have either sped or he just parked it because he hasn't gotten off the pit road, took 4 tires, and just stood there. So if it was a speeding penalty, it's a huge mistake, but I don't know what's really going on. But really, I'm kind of surprised that we've even seen anyone pull away from the main pack. Furness and Elwood are gone, and Elwood has been chasing down Furness a little bit. They're only separated by 0.5 of a second right now, but then it's another 1.5 seconds back to Fambro, who leads this entire line from 3rd place all the way back to 13th with Rob Ackley.
Well, it's not like to say he's leading the conga line, but now it's about to get a little separated here. Hearn looking to the inside. He's going to have to tuck back in line here unless he gets a little side draft on him. Seems like he's going to. It's going to get tight here down in the tunnel turn.
Oh, he's definitely trying to get some side draft. Going to throw it down into the tunnel turn. Can he maintain it down on the bottom? Will he wash up, lose that momentum? Wasn't able to carry it. Here comes Famro back on the outside and causing a huge bottleneck. Here comes Travis Beckner in behind to the inside of the 33.
And that's what's really going to cause a potential incident. If the 67 of Hearn can't complete that pass in a tunnel turn, he goes side by side, he stacks everything up, and it just, like you said, it bottlenecks everything up and makes a whole lot of checkups in a really bad spot. So everyone got away with it once, and probably a few more times they will, but it's very risky to be doing that this early in the race, and it's just letting the top 2 go.
That's the best thing these guys could see. It puts less pressure on Elwood trying to hunt down Furness, and more pressure on the guys back here. And Hearn completes the pass, going to slide up. Ooh, doesn't hit the wall. That's good. And boy, they are squarely in the back as well, but starting to get more single filed up here.
I almost want to take a look at that pack further back, but I feel like something's going to go awry here in this front group as they're still duking out. They can't decide which order they want to be in as Bourne works to the inside of Colin Fambro now. Beckner side by side with Weishart, now Scioli. Looking back there, Shane Terrian also making some moves to the inside of Chris Rabel in the 29 machine. All side-by-side action here.
2x2, it seems like either 2 rows deep or 4 rows deep at times. Everyone trying to sort themselves out. A few drivers almost hitting the wall. Rabel got really, really close, but he was able to keep it off there. And a second pack led by Garrett Grant, who's in 14th, who's got about everyone backed up back to 23rd, ending with Steve Durham as a few battles here and there through that pack, but not nearly as kind of risky, I would say, and as close-knit as this one with Tom Bourne, Fambro, among others.
Get a good look at it here. Someone just clobbered the wall back there. It might have been Tellier in the 47. But they continue to go side by side up here. 4th place. Bourne on the inside. Fambro on the outside. Fambro trying to hold on to what he can. Bourne trying to move on up. You're going to get bottlenecked here. Oh, contact. Fambro got on the wall just a tad. Now here comes Weishart giving the momentum push to the 16 and a 3.
Still very close quarters between all these guys. See them all running very close together. Some battling going on further back behind them. Coming off turn 3, you can see Fambro a little bit sideways trying to keep the momentum going.
Oh, this is insanely good stuff, even for Pocono standards. That was Tellier who did hit the wall pretty harshly out of turn 1, by the way. But all good up here. Scioli's looking 3 wide early to do that. That's not going to work. Fambro's going to get hit up the track. He's going to
save it. He's going to
down in the Weishart. They're going to stay 3 wide. That was dodgy by Scioli, but I assume he figured he had to make the move to do anything at all, and it worked out for him. Who cares what happened to everyone else? That puts him up to 4th.
Cooler heads got to prevail here. 3 wide in the tunnel turn is risking a crash. Oh my goodness, that's Rabel.
Guys, it's only lap 11. They're racing like it's 5 to go.
And you know what? That's what David Weishart said back on Monday, because he was in the first yellow heading into the tunnel turn where that bump towards the inside wall saved him from any damage, and he yelled on the radio, "It's only lap 10. What are we doing?" Because he was getting side drafted and ended up getting turned from there.
All right, While the
Scully
action's,
got a really bad run.
while the actions die down here, let's take a look at what's going on back in the back here. How about Ricky Harden? We saw him spin out 2 times in qualifying, wasn't able to get a solid lap in. He's up from 26th to 17th, slowly moving his way up the order, showing that he does indeed have some speed, trying to catch that front group to battle with them.
He's still got a little bit of work to be done to get to that
really
front
tight
group.
off the corner, going to tap the wall. Someone tapped the wall in that front group as well.
Big Greg Mitchell.
I think he's all right. It might have been Munsell, but I don't think anyone hit it too harshly there, as they're all still sorted out.
Oh, hello.
Whoa,
Oh,
that's
wow.
Scioli and Tom Bourne. Bourne is still going at it, trying to move up. He's actually moving down. Weishart about to pass him. Now Rabel on the outside, trying to generate a run to see if he can get alongside the 16 and prevail down the straightaway.
Can't take my eyes off a second though. These guys look a little bit further back, and they start getting to some more shenanigans here. They try to still sort themselves out. Bourne working to the inside now of Rabel. Close quarters in turn 1. Off turn they go. They will maintain that distance. Looking back up to the front, look at the gap that the top 2 have put to the rest of the field. It's almost 3 seconds back from Furness and Elwood back to Cameron Hearn, now in 3rd place, trying to race them down, and even a further gap between them and Shane Terrian. Oh, hello. Fanning out in the background, almost going 3 wide.
And Mitchell's looking at something to do. Fambro found a way under Tom Bourne, so he's trying to make that work. Mitchell was looking under Travis Beckner, couldn't get there. Fambro's going to complete that pass on Tom Bourne, trying to recover. He went from 5th to 9th in 1 lap, so the 18 trying to recover, gets himself back up to 8th. But yeah, that gap is huge, and the 67 of Hearn is not closing in either. Well, he did that time by 2/10, but he lost 2/10 the lap prior, so he really hasn't made any ground. He's 3 seconds back, but the only one really making up any ground is Alan Elwood. He's almost caught the rear bumper of John Furness. Not quite there yet, but he's closed in since we last saw these two.
Hearn's trying to dig a little bit into the gap between himself and Elwood, but yeah, Elwood is continuing to put the pressure on. It was 3.1 last time by. It's hovering just around 3, maybe less than that.
Looking at Cameron Hearn, currently sitting in no man's land at the moment. He's his own worst enemy, just trying to see if he can chase down the top leaders, while also making sure the guys in behind don't catch back up to him. Whites are ripping the curving as well.
It's kind of what you want to do in turn 3. You don't want to bounce it too hard to where it puts you in the wall, but if you can get as low there as you can without it upsetting your car too much, running that curbing can work, as these 3 start to pull away a little bit from the rest of the field. But Scully doesn't want to work. He just wants to kind of go to the front. He's made some aggressive passes, as we've seen. Theron really missed turn 1 there, unless this is them trying to work together, but I don't think that's the case. Scully blinks at the wrong time there, as those 3 are still trying to get through each other. Theron has to give up 2 spots there in turn 1.
Yeah, that was a close one there. It looked like Weishart was trying to come up in the middle of turn 1 on Theron. That did not work out in his favor at all. Theron falls back to 6th with Chris Rabel hunting. And now looking a little further back, Tom Bourne still in a fight with someone. Seems like every time we cut to him, he's side by side with someone. This time Justin Munsell trying to crack the top 10. Greg Mitchell closing in along with Rob Ackley. And some of the guys from this 2nd or 3rd pack back here closing in.
Yeah, talk about Seth Noel, who's been closing in quietly. In that second group, we really didn't put much camera time on. They're kind of, I guess it's kind of good for them that they didn't have a lot of camera time, because they were just focusing on just putting some laps down, not burning up their tires, burning up their stuff, and now they're caught the tail end of that leading group. And now it's starting to do battle. He's caught up to Ackley, Bourne, and Mitchell. See what they're going to do. But yeah, Bourne's starting to fall like a rock here. I have a feeling he might have pushed his stuff a little bit too hard early on. Either that, he's just been not been able to get a solid lane or a solid group going.
Yeah, he picked the wrong lane at the wrong time, and also I do think he wore his stuff out. He was all the way up to 4th, but he's fallen so far from that already. He's back to 12th now, and Seth Noel, who's came from dead last all the way to 14th, is trying to take that spot away from him as well. While he's under fire from Rob Ackley, that 16 is not looking good. Doesn't seem like he can get through the corners at all. Just really, really struggling now.
Garrett Grant gonna ride on board with him. Gonna give a little push to the 93 of Noel, headed into turn 1. Gotta back off. Don't want to plow into him going through the corner.
Ooh, Bourne.
Might be
Way
in a
up the
three-wide
track.
situation here with Ackley and Bourne. Ackley in the middle, Bourne on the outside. Grant close to touching with Ackley as they head down the long backstretch.
Someone back out, boys. This is not going to work twice.
Oh,
Please.
boy. Someone's going to have
It's
to
gonna
give
be
here.
Bourne.
Oh, they're going to door each other heading to the
It's gonna be
corner.
Bourne. Yep.
14's not going to like that. As you mentioned, Bourne's going to back out, and they're still going to be tight on the exit. 14 almost getting pushed up into the wall as Grant's not giving up, trying to make up a spot, and will just clear the 14 heading into turn 3. Here comes Bryce Senesak. He's been pretty quiet this race so far. He's going to throw it to the inside.
It almost looked like Ackley wanted the bumper of Garrett Grant. I don't think he was happy about being squeezed upwards there, but he couldn't get to him. Ackley sliding off turn number 3 there. We got a little bit of a run on Senesak. Senesak trying to side draft, keep him there. While Tom Bourne is just trying to stay with this pack. By all means, he's all the way to the rear of it at this point. The only one behind him in this general line is Tommy Ryan in the 99.
Ooh. A little squirrely there for Ackley as Senesak's going to clear him. Ackley going to try and cross him over. Going to have a little side draft here down the long back stretch. See if he'll have any help from Seth Noel.
Yeah, indeed, we'll see if he has any help from Noel as these guys go back side by side. Senesak going to roll the outside lane. The 14 going to try to throw it up the inside. Tommy Ryan in the 99 machine waiting the wing, starting 25th up to 17th for him. Take a look back up at our leaders. The gap dropped under 0.2 of a second for a while, and then it went back up as Elwood's backed out, starting to lose more time now to the 28.
He lost most of the time last lap, so these two, even still, the 49, he's really losing time now. It almost looks like he's pushing, trying not to hit the wall, but 28's kind of starting to put a little bit of a gap on Ellen Elwood, but these two are still putting a gap on Cameron Hearn. They've gained 2.5 tenths since we last looked at these two gaps. And meanwhile, for Cameron Hearn, Scioli's not really chasing him down either. He's in a line with Weishart, Therian, and Rabel. Those guys aren't gaining ground, so this might already be a 2-car race at this point, but we're yet to see any green flag pit stops, anything scheduled at least.
Did Hearn just hit the wall before going in the corner? Or was that just a wide arc?
Yes, he did. No, that saw the bumper crinkle as soon as we cut to this camera shot. So a little bit of damage to the right front.
Kind of a silly way to have it happen, but that's pretty easy to do. You're trying to get everything you can, especially at a track like Pocono where your entrance to the corner is so important. That can happen pretty easily.
Well, Beckner was in a pickle there with Munsell. Seems like he's gotten himself out of it. Trying to catch with the 18 of Fambro, and as we focus on Greg Mitchell here in the 2, just a spot shy of eclipsing that top 10. Now he's going to have Seth Noel looking to the inside, down the back.
Seth Noel continuing his charge to the front of the field from 24th now up into 11th to see if he can clear the 2. He's going to try to slide in front of him and will successfully do so at the exit on the tunnel turn. We'll gain one more spot up into 11th.
And after that front line was so aggressive early on, everything's kind of stalled out. You had the drivers who saved their stuff up pulling away, and the guys who didn't save anything, like Tom Bourne, dropping back. So everyone's spreading out into their own sort of tiny groups. Some drivers on their own, not many on their own. Bryce Senesak might be the only one who falls under that category, but everyone else kind of finding their partner, finding their dance partner for the rest of this race.
Seems like David's found his with Scioli. He won here in Season 1, Scioli P2, so Scioli hoping that they can reverse the order this time around and that he ends up in victory lane. Weishart second, but got a long way to go here, less than 50 to go. The race is only 70 laps, but this is a 2.5-mile track, so we've got quite a long way to go.
Indeed we do, and actually before we go any further, I just want to mention, haven't used them yet because nothing incredibly terrible or no wrecks or anything have happened, but thank our replay sponsor, Simrap Market. Fans, be sure to check out simrapmarket.com for custom iRacing paint scheme templates that are simple to use and can help you stay more focused on the track. That's simrapmarket.com.
Trying to look at the only people who can really file under attrition, I guess, are Ed Robertson. He did get back on track, but he's 12 laps down, so something external must have happened. He's 12 down. Jeremy Rigney finally called it quits. He's retired from the race after hitting the wall lap 1. He's 7 down for now. And Brian Chambliss, with that internet issue, still only 3 down, running decent times, but just needs yellow, or to be more specific, 3 of them to get back in this one. Is to look at that lead, John Furness in the 28. That gap's finally starting to get bigger and bigger, and they're pretty much fully separated at this point. They're not really a 2-car pack. Alan Elwood a full second behind the 28 machine. As Furness, after going almost the entire regular season without a win, he's looking at potentially 2 in a row here.
You think Elwood's trying to, well,
Ooh,
as soon as I say that, there goes Skyoli coming in the pit route. I was going to say, maybe Elwood's trying to save a little bit of fuel so he can make this a one-stop. They mentioned these guys can go at most 35 laps, or at the very least 35 laps, can stretch it around there. And that was from the David Weishart chat, which is odd because that includes James Skyoli, so not sure this is going to open the door for more drivers to come down pit road or not, but we'll have to keep an eye on that.
Yeah, definitely one thing I want to point out is the lap time difference. So I think Skyly thinking better to come in and get fresh tires because these guys are running just about 2 seconds or more slower compared to their best laps. So I think Skyly is figuring instead of trying to save the fuel, save the tire, just burn your stuff up, just run as hard as you can, come in, put extra bit for tires, and try to make it up on the track. See if it's going to be worth it. Be interesting to see if we do have a decent amount of drivers split instead of everyone kind of going either which way. Especially a fast driver like Scoily can really see how that split strategy can work. Looking at pit lane, I don't see any takers this time by, so might be one of the few to try a 2-stop strategy.
It's a little risk at a track like this, 2.5 miles. He's back on the lead lap with really a lot of room to spare. In fact, he's pretty much got all of Long Pond straightaway to spare, and he was, I believe, in 4th position. So even the drivers like Travis Beckner, Justin Munsell, they'll most likely easily stay on the lead lap if they were to pit as well. But like you said, no takers last time by, as that gap for the lead starts to widen out even more. It's almost 1.3 seconds as Cameron Hearn's starting to close in more on Elwood than Elwood's doing anything to Furness.
Yeah, this is. I'm still trying to piece this together because if this thing goes green to the finish, then he's gonna have to come back and pit around lap 55-ish, somewhere around there, 55 to 60. Only have 10 laps to go, so it might work out for him then if these guys try to eclipse it past lap 35 and then come in and pit. But I don't know. We still have a good bit of ways to go, but we'll have to see if this works out in the end for Skyoli.
Well, I guess it's also the mindset, too. He's already got plenty of wins this season. He's locked in. There's no change in that. I guess figured might as well, have some fun, I guess, and just kind of throw a strategy to the win. Well, not necessarily the win. Just play a risky gamble, see if it works out. Worst case scenario, he doesn't get a win. He already has quite a few to back up on.
It's going to be gone with the wind if it doesn't go his way, but it seems like he's going to have really no friends on this strategy. I thought it might be a few laps early to try a 2-stop, but really it's only a lap or two earlier than what you would expect a 2-stop strategy to hit at. So really not that early, as everyone's still kind of spreading out more and more, everyone getting more spaced, but it looks like Weishart's going to be the next taker on the 2-stop. See, he's one of the drivers I would usually expect to see try a 2-stop, but he wasn't the first to do it this time, but Weishart is in.
Weishart in as Grant was moving his way through the top 10. Should be another 4-tire stop here for Weishart, but mentioned, Pocono is one of the only tracks where you can pit and not lose a lap depending on where you're at, and Weishart was inside the top 5, so you won't have to worry about losing a lap unless he overshoots pit box or has a lengthy pit stop, but I don't think that will be the case. So he should stay on the lead lap. We'll have to see what the others do as Furness continues to lead here.
He continues actually at a really solid lead. I think Alan Elwin might want to reconsider his strategy. Again, his main competitor, Skyly's come down to pit lane, and he's definitely not catching that 28 as they run right now. I would say, honestly, with 49, maybe try something a little bit unorthodox, maybe come down pit lane a little early. But he's going to continue on. As I expect, majority of the drivers to kind of stay out here and just kind of run it out, because that solid window, ooh, Tommy Ryan, I think, just keeps sliding out at turn 3.
Well, he's not the only one. There's been a few drivers as these laps wind down, or I would say they wind up, depending on how you look at it. These tires are wearing out more and more. The fall off is about, it's almost 2 seconds, so it makes you wonder if the 2-stop's in order just because of the sheer tire wear, and everyone's really struggling to get out of the corners. A lot of drivers using all of the track at this point in the run. I've seen Shane Therian almost slap the wall out of turn 1 and turn 3 multiple times, so you start to wonder if these guys are going to think just because of how bad the tire is, if they might just have to pit because they can't hang on to it.
And the longer they go, the more they will fade away, and for some more than others. Actually, Grant has moved past Travis Beckner for the 7th spot, so as we wind towards the window, well, the window's already open for green flag pit stops, but as we wind down, the more drivers coming down pit road, Grant's moving on up. So, like I said, he started 15th, kind of hovered around there. It's been moving up steadily since then. And keep an eye on Garrett Grant. He might make some noise here towards the end of this one.
In for a pretty solid run just ahead of Beckner, who he completed the pass on in turn 3. Up in the 7th place. A little bit of a gap next to Colin Fambro. His next target. You can try to catch back up to him. For the most part, other than a little bit of action here and there, mostly single file, as we I think a lot of guys are going to start to pace themselves here until we got pit stops coming within the next 7 or so laps. And we'll see our driver's been able to save enough gas, because this thing is looking like it's going to go green, at least for quite a while. Muntz will make a move, trying to make a move to the inside of Beckner.
Still no movement to pit road for the top 2. Looking at Furness's last lap of 57.6. Compare that to James Scioli, who was a full 2 seconds faster. So once this cycles out, Furness will have a little bit of ground to make up on Scioli and maybe even David Weishart. But if it does go green, I don't really see that being too much of a factor.
Munsell completes the pass on Beckner, but then being side by side that long down the straightaway just closed up the gap for Mitchell and Seth Noel. And Beckner thought about trying to cross him over, but now we got a little 4-car choo-choo train here from 8th through 11th.
A very tight-knit choo-choo train. If someone makes a mistake, take all 4 of them out. Got to be careful when you're racing so close together. Here comes the 27, who gets a little bit tight. Mitchell trying to pull off to the side to make a move and just avoid getting to the back of the 27. Into turn 3 they go. Seth Noel also trying to make some noise here.
And well, a bit further ahead, Colin Fambro made a pass on Shane Therian, although Therian's going to get the run out of 3 and maybe make a crossover attempt. No, he's just going to shove him down the front straightaway, because I think he knows the 18's a little faster as this battle starts to... They're trying to sort themselves out, but Greg Mitchell not trying to give up the spot to Seth Noel. Noel's going to try to go 2 for 1 under the 27 of Beckner into turn number 1. Beckner up the track.
Oh.
There's that bump. He hit it really harshly that time. He's going to lose to Noel and Greg Mitchell.
Well, take a look at it with our SimRap market replay. There it is. Just saw the tail end of that bump. And in the middle of 1 and 2, you do not want to hit that. Fortunately for Beckner, it doesn't wind up with him hitting the wall. Only lose a few spots here as Mitchell completes the pass heading into Tonton.
Yeah, we saw that early in the race, really throwing guys off the line. Not as severe, but now that the tires are wearing out, you already have a little bit of grip, very little grip. All you need is a little bit of a bump, and then it just throws you off the line and off into outer space. It seems to go up into the high line where no one's been running whatsoever, and there's little to no grip because there's barely any rubber down there. So really want to be careful the way you approach the line here. Connor, you got a thought?
Just listen to Shane Therian's engine into some of these corners, as he's definitely having to save a little bit. He's clutching into the corner, so I would assume that would mean Hunter, he's trying to one-stop, but he needs some security to make it to 35 to even make that work. I would assume that's what that means. He's really been clutching. Well, really, the last 2 laps is what I've noticed, but who knows how long he's been trying it.
Seems like Elwood is trying to get all of his guys on the same strategy now. I mean, we've seen him tailing off the lead from Furness for the last handful of laps.
He's coasting as well.
Down to 2.5 seconds, and he's just trying to bide his time as well, save some fuel, make it around lap 35. If they can make it past there, then
maybe
the window is good to go.
Maybe that's why we were seeing Elwood fall off so quickly. I think maybe he was trying to save more gas.
And maybe that's why someone like Scioli tried something different. He probably thought to himself, I don't really feel like saving. Let's try something different. But the thing with this track is, at this point in the run, with how slow the pace has gotten, to coast and save fuel, it's really not going to slow these guys' times down that much. So it's really not that much of a disadvantage as long as you just know how to clutch.
If this thing goes green in the end, Scioli's going to have at least 10 laps on a new set of tires, pitted back around lap 24. If he comes in and pits around lap 58 to 60 in that range, he's going to have at least 10 laps on fresh tires, which might help in the run. Depends on where he is on the track at that time. But something to look at here as this race continues to go on. 32 laps in, no yellows just yet. Back in season 1, we had 5 yellows for 15 laps.
See, Skyli's pretty much on the opposite side of the track of John Furness as he's heading off into turn 1. Skyli's just exiting turn 2, so there's about half a lap separating the two. Sky up into 20th. And that's after he pit. No one else is other than him and Weishart. No one else has come down to make their first green flag stop of the race, and potentially their only green flag stop of the race. Here we'll see if they have enough fuel saved. They can come in lap 35. They come in lap 34. Might be possible. Might be a little bit too much of a stretch. We'll see. These guys come to lap 33. A lot of them have made it pretty far when it comes to fuel saving. LNL, we heard not shutting off the engine, but at least coasting for quite a bit. Cameron Hearn's been using that to chase him back down.
And I haven't really heard Furness clutch and coast that much. It seems like he might not need to. He's gone 33 full laps now, and he has not made a pit stop. So I would expect to see a lot of guys this lap, next lap, the lap after. So this should open up some things, unless you see some drivers clutching just to try to get that extra fuel for a potential green-white checkered. With the way the race is going, I don't really expect that to be a possibility, but who really knows? As still looking for some other pit stops. Scioli's pace he's still in the 56-second bracket. His last lap a 56.6, which is only about a second faster than John Furness at this point. So that advantage is going down.
Yeah, it has been calm the last 5-10 laps or so. Not a whole lot to report on other than that Furness continuing to lead. We're closing in on the halfway, which, as mentioned, seemed like would be the sweet spot for fuel, and drivers could then come in and top off with only one more stop. As we are now officially one lap away from halfway. Furness just dominated this thing since the green flag flew.
Yeah, he's done a really fantastic job. No one's really come close. Elwood came close to him at one point, was up to about 0.2 of a second in behind the 28, and now is sitting adrift 3.5 seconds back. Obviously, I think we know this because he is trying to save more fuel, although I think was also trying to fall a little bit off in tires compared to the number 28. But now Cameron Hearn trying to chase him down. Chris Rabel having a decent run in 4th, and then you have this little pack of cars, Fam Rotarian, Grant Munsell all together.
Bad news for Tom Bourne. He's only 5 seconds ahead of James Scioli, and Scioli pit and Bourne hasn't. That shows how badly this 16 has fallen off. Some drivers are like the leaders in the high 57-second bracket. Tom Bourne's running high 58, so his pace has really fallen off. As here we come, seeing the leaders come to pit road. Furness is going to come in, and seems like everyone's going to follow him. Cameron Hearn gaining everything he can. It's almost like the pit stops before a stage is about to end. Here comes the entire field.
Most of the field
is not going to lead a lap that time by, but
you guys staying out.
Most of the field coming in pit road.
Few drivers staying out. Terry and Ryan, Beckner, everyone else. You can see pit lane. It looks like a caution's come on. Everyone's come down to pit lane.
We have a yellow out? This is where it's important. Everyone's pitting. You got to hit your marks. Can't overshoot.
Just a Munsell mess up.
Can't do that either. I don't think he hit the wall, but it's still going to lose him a lot of time. Got to look for speeding penalties, see if anyone's stopped in their box. Furness is all good. Looks like he's going to get out with still sizable gap over Elwood and Hurd. No mistakes at the front.
Well, I was going to say that wouldn't cost him a lap, but he gave the wall a kiss, and then he spent 10 seconds trying to get her straightened out. So we'll have to see where he winds up in that. Meanwhile, everyone else coming off of pit road seems like it's the usual. 4 tires, full tank of fuel.
There's
Scioli. Here comes Theory, and another lap after it. Get that extra lap of fuel. Same for Tommy Ryan, Travis Beckner. They pulled the same strategy, and that should pretty much be everyone else.
I actually like that from all those guys who waited until now to pit. Like Theory and Ryan Beckner, those guys, I think they did the right thing because they're going to have at least one lap more for fuel if this thing does go green to the finish. If not, then, they'll all come in and pit again. But we'll have to see how that one works out.
Drivers getting service to their machines. There's Tom Bourne coming in. It's really kind of amazing how much the 16 has fallen off. Just a really solid pace early on. I think if we had more cautions, that 16 would definitely shine. Unfortunately, it's been very much more short-run focus here as Tommy Ryan coming up very close to Shane Terry. They're going to drag race off of pit lane. Looks like Ryan's going to win out on that occasion as Colin Fairman comes flying through the frame. And race leader is James Scioli, followed by David Weishart, couple seconds back. John Furness 12 seconds back from the lead.
We'll see how long it'll take him to catch back up. Chambliss is about to pit, but he's still laps down, so no matter to them. But Weishart has not really been able to do anything to catch the 7. He pit, I believe, a lap or 2 after Scioli. He was about 4/10 faster that time by. Trying to listen. Scioli's not saving. No reason to on a 2-stop, but Scioli definitely did lose a lot of time that lap, and we'll see what kind of pace Furness puts down to catch these two. A 55.4 for Furness's first clean lap out of the pits, which is about a 1.5 faster than the submachine Scioli.
Seems like he'll get up to him in about 6 laps, maybe 7. Oh, Hudson pancaking that wall, coming out of 1. Going on to pit road, but Hudson giving that turn 1 wall a little bit of love here.
See right there. One of the harder hits we've seen, really because we haven't seen a whole lot of hard hits today. Everyone's been fairly clean and respectful so far.
Really, the only hits we've seen were out of turn 1. That's why Rigney's out of the race. So that seems to be a trouble spot. Although I've seen trouble brewing at every corner of this track, but it just hasn't happened quite yet. David Weishart comes over to radio saying debris everywhere. Not quite, but a good try. I guess that shows where he thinks he is at on his strategy. Definitely needing some help or caution of some sort.
Fambro's got the 99 of Ryan all over his bumper as they approach turn 1. Seems like they're going to back off and give each other some space, at least for now, until the next straightaway. Exactly going to give it pressure to the 99.
You can see a lot of these guys looking a lot more composed now. They have some grip back underneath them after being on 30-some-odd lap old tires. Have some grip to work with. Some of them trying to make some quick work of it. Tommy Ryan trying to see if he can get past Colin Fambro. We got also Rob Ackley sitting in behind, number 14 car. Started 16 up to 13th. Decent day. Been fairly quiet as well.
I think everything's been quiet in this race for the most part, so
yeah,
that's kind of on brand, I'd say. Only takes one mistake to really throw this race up in arms, I would say. Fambro's struggling to get off some of these corners. Ryan's trying to formulate some sort of run to get by him, but nothing quite big enough yet. He's got about 3 miles per hour on him, but he's just going to shove him into turn number 1 a little bit. Surprised at how effective the draft is, especially in these Xfinity cars. Not something I expected to see, but seems to be doing wonders for the 99. Also, the push from Ackley doesn't hurt either.
Not sure. Did Forrest Smith come down and pit yet? I'm not sure if he did or didn't.
Which car number, sorry?
84. Yes,
Smith.
he did.
He
He was also a 2-stopper, actually. He might be. I don't know if I would say a 2-stopper, but
he came
pit,
down,
I believe, 29. I don't think
yeah,
that's
he came down
11
11 laps ago, so he is struggling out there at the moment on some older tires. Well, I shouldn't say struggling, but he's on older tires out there at the moment. Not as old as the tires of James Scully. 18 laps on his stint. 15 for David Weishart. Keep an eye here is Scioli. Gap's now down to 7 seconds. There's David Weishart, and then John Furness should be coming off the corner. There he is in his pursuit of the leaders.
Still running about, I'd say he's about last time by about a second faster than Weishart, and then about a 1.5 seconds faster than Scioli. So Scioli's been losing a lot of time to Weishart lately, although the 33 still hasn't gotten there yet.
No, not quite yet, and I think Furness is going to get to him before Weishart gets to the 7.
So you're also looking at this battle, Tommy Ryan in the 99, tracing down Colin Fambro. Jeff Ryan's back in 22nd in the 37 car. Not been a particularly good day for the other Ryan brother. Started in 21st, currently sitting in 22nd.
No damage either, just hasn't been able to catch up to the rest of the field. Probably got called out, probably lost the draft earlier on, and when he couldn't recover it, it just lost him a bunch of time. Maybe he got caught behind Rigney hitting the wall. Maybe that was the culprit, but either way, struggling to find any track position. Another one who probably needs a yellow to get back into this.
Ricky Arden also a bit surprised of his performance. Hunter it started off pretty early, but just didn't quite have the performance. It seemed he was off to a decent start, but this second run not doing too well for him.
No, not today. It just seems like car cannot handle the way it wants to. Just the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. And looking through here, battle for the top 10. Once again, heating up. Fambro in 10th, Ryan 11th, Ackley in 12th, and Forrest Smith just getting passed by all those guys. Sits 13th.
Ticking off the laps here. Ooh, someone got a piece of wall off of turn 3. Not sure who that was. Someone had a Munsell.
Is that Hudson again?
No. Tellier in the 47. That right side's taking a beating today. Wow, it looks like he's been in a wreck.
He's one of the first ones in the wall. He's almost hitting it again.
Oh,
Yep, there he is.
got
He
it
is
again.
in it again. That wasn't a big hit. That was more like a scrape. But yeah, he's been one of the biggest runners on the struggle bus today. He's a lap down, 25th place. The only one that might be struggling more than him is Jacob Hudson, who's also hit the wall numerous times, and he was the one who hit it at a turn 3 last time by. These two running for position, but both struggling together right now.
He's just giving it some love. Nothing wrong with that.
Okay, guys, getting past Forrest Smith. Forrest Smith's dropped back all the way to 15th now on his older tires. Expect to see him come down with pit road one more time. Sorry.
Yeah, I was about to say I don't see him making it to the
Actually,
end. He pit about 6 laps earlier than pretty much the entire field did, who were on a one stop. I don't think he's going to make it to the end. Still waiting on Skyoli and Weishart as well to go along with that, Hunter.
Yeah, I would say right around 55 to 60 is when we're going to see both these guys come down pit road, make their final stop. They'll have fresher tires, but I'm not sure for how many laps if they'll be able to make up some ground to get back towards the front. I don't know at this rate if they're going to be able to get a top 5 or not. Top 10, maybe.
Said 55 to 60?
Well, yeah, because Skyoli pitted around lap 24. I think Weishart pitted a little bit after that.
I guess
it'll
it
be interesting to
depends.
see.
I guess it depends if they want to stretch the fuel, because if it was me trying to two-stop, I'd probably be saying that they're about ready to pit, but if they run to the end on their fuel run, then they would pit that. Just, I guess it depends on what they're trying to aim for. Do they just want to commit to the two-stop, or are they going to try to commit to find a yellow out there somewhere? Skyoli can run as long as he wants, because he's not in any type of situation that would require him to try to catch every yellow possible. Someone like David Weishart, I think he might have to commit, because maybe he just has to stay out to catch yellow as well, because he's kind of in a polar opposite situation as Skyoli, where he's below the cut line and he's probably more likely not going to need a win. There it is.
They're both in this time. All right. Well, I did not expect that to happen, but Furnace has retaken the lead. Skyoli and Weishart come down pit road in what should be their final stops of the day. Now, how is this going to cycle for them in the end? Got 25 laps left to sell this one out. But Furnace has a 4-second lead over Cameron Hearn, guys.
Yeah, he's done a really solid job out there. Especially and Cameron Herndl's done a solid job too. He was able to get past Ellen Elwood, I think, before the pit stop started. Or, when the pit stop started. I think he was just able to pass him in pit lane and get back out. Ahead of the 49 is driven away. 6-7 has done a solid job. Alan Elwood's fallen off just a little bit. Hasn't quite been able to catch back up. I'm not sure if Cameron Hearn, if he's got enough car left to try to catch the 28. It's got just about 4 seconds to chase down John Furness.
And Cameron Hearn actually got by on lap 40, so it was a little bit after the pit stops, but we've been seeing Elwood start to struggle even before he started saving fuel. He kind of was starting to fall off the 28, and it shows right now, but it's a little surprising to see Cameron Hearn put a decent pace down, a little bit of right front fender damage from hitting the wall on entry, but hasn't hurt him too much. He's still running times kind of around Furness. Some laps he's faster, some laps he's slower, but definitely nothing that's going to scare the 28 into getting caught or making a mistake. Still a strong 4-second lead. 5th place is Seth Noel. Great charge for him. 29th to 5th. So good job for the 93. Shame he didn't qualify because he's 12 seconds behind the leader.
So you're kind of grouping back together again. Sorry, Hunter?
I'll say Seth Noel's really improved since the drop of the green flag. Didn't qualify, started towards the rear, and he's running inside the top 5. Just a solid effort for that 93 car.
We'll see if he can hold on to it. He's got a hungry amount of cars in behind him. Garrett Grant, Greg Mitchell, and a bunch of more Hornets in behind, swarming him. Colin Farrell, Tommy Ryan, Rob Ackley, Shane Terry, and Travis Beckner all in that group of 5. You can see coming through turn 3 now. all converging together here as we're just over 20 laps to go, being clean and green all race long. And
Must have missed where Greg Mitchell got that right front damage. He hit it pretty hard, but it's not really hurting him too much. Still 7th place, but he's definitely got a decent amount of damage there as he dives to the inside, trying to get the 5 of Garrett Grant. He's also another one who's made a solid charge through the field, up 9 positions from 15th starting position.
let's go. He's just gone around the number 37 of Jeff Ryan. He came back out in 21st, and now he's going to just try to drive it through the field, but I don't think he's going to have enough time to get near the front.
Probably not. You could probably get to Paul Irvin 10 seconds up the road. Then it's another 6 seconds or so to Forrest Smith. You'll probably get the 84 as well. He's way off the pace. But then when you get the 14th with Munsell, it's going to be a little bit more tough to make that pass. So I don't see this happening. I think at the end of the day, realistically, I think Hunter's strategy might have been better, especially in Scioli's situation, where it doesn't matter. He might have just wanted to see if you could catch the yellow because it doesn't matter at that point, but that's not what they did. Going to be a tough climb to get back to the top 15 for those two without any yellows.
I mean, it could happen where yellow comes out and changes the dynamic of this thing. You never know, but yeah, kind of a tough one to do. You made your bed, got a lie in it. And here we go. Not toxic. Good battle here. Therian, Ryan, and Ackley, Beckner in the mix as well, and Fambro driving away from him.
Yeah, I'm sure Fambro's loving to see this here so he can try to drive away. Ryan back to the inside of Shane Terry, and Terry trying to just cut back at least in front of the 14 and get a decent run off the corner as they head on back to the front straight away. Just about 20 laps to go for these guys, and before we go any further, running out of place to mention these sponsors because haven't had any cautions. We usually plug them in. Never mind, can't even say it now because here comes Terry and back to the inside.
And they need to buy a spot on the wall or something so they get seen. There's just too much action around this 2.5 mile track. But Ryan Therian, it's almost like they're working together to keep passing each other left and right, but I don't think that's what's happening. A bit late to be working together as they're going to probably catch the 18 back as they have a huge run down Long Pond as these four are really the closest battle. They're not sort of a back and forth battle. It's definitely the closest one. And then you get the pack of 3 for 5th up ahead, but they're not as close as these four.
So around this area, right around turn 3, where there's close racing going on, but 20 laps left here from Pocono.
And while they're spread out for just a little bit, I'm going to get a chance to plug this in. Fans, be sure to check out rickshotsauce.com for some of the best hot sauces made locally in South Florida. Be sure to follow the Rick's Hot Sauce Rookie of the Year battle in the Area Cup Series and see who will take home the $100 prize as the highest finishing rookie in the point standings. It's again rickshotsauce.com. It's been decently hot on the track too. I'm not just talking about the action, but the weather. Last we looked at it was 106, 107. Now it's up to 108. Hasn't really gone much further than that, but action, as we mentioned, has been pretty hot and spicy. A lot of action, a lot of clean action on the track. No one really beating and banging. Some taps in there, especially with the wall for some drivers, but other than that, pretty clean.
This battle for 9th, starting to really for 8th place, is still heating up. It's now a 5-car battle right now, but now we have a 2-car battle sort of brewing for the 2nd position. Cameron Hearn had pulled away from Alan Elwood. Elwood's actually reeled him back in. He was on the rear bumper as a 67. This is about just under 5 seconds behind leader John Furnace, but these two have found each other once again.
Probably going to go up to 5.5 seconds if Elwood gets side by side here with the 67. Solid run coming out of turn 1. Not going to be enough to pull alongside of Hearn, but he's applying the pressure to Cameron as we go into the tunnel turn.
Yeah, he's going to get close. Not going to dive just yet. I don't think he's going to try to be that aggressive still with just about 20 laps left to go. Maybe 5 laps ago he might have thrown it in there, but he gets a decent run off of the tunnel turn now into turn 3. Now he's a shot to dive it to the inside of Cameron Hearn. Hearn's going to pinch him to the inside.
Really all the 67 can do at this point, just pinch and hope he can get the run off to clear him, because you don't want Elwood getting to that left rear, pulling him back. As a matter of fact, he's going to break that draft immediately, go as low as he can. And when he realizes 49's not following, he gets back up. Elwood followed late. Gotta love the weaving. Only Pocono and Indy, and maybe Michigan. You don't see that at many tracks.
They actually closed the gap a little bit by doing that. I'm not sure if Furnace is in some lap traffic or not, but Gap is down to 4.3 seconds as Elwood's still trying to find a way around the 67 of Hearn.
Close battle brewing here for both these guys heading back down to turn 2. Alan Elwood closer than he was before, but still waiting to make a move on the 67. He's getting some fantastic runs off these corners, not quite being able to execute by the entry of the next one as Cameron Hearn grabs the block to the inside to cut off any means of attack from the 49.
Almost looked like Hearn got a shot from Elwood there, coming out of the tunnel turn. Got to be careful when trying to leave a bumper to someone, especially in a turn like that, but they got through with it so far. Here comes Forrest Smith. He did end up hitting a few laps ago. He's back in 23rd, 1 lap down. He's going to, I assume, try to pass both these guys rather quickly.
There he is, looking to the inside. We'll get past the 49. We'll break up this battle for a second.
Don't want to get in Cameron Hearn's way too much. It really hasn't affected him this season. Last season, that was another story, but Forrest Smith hopefully out of the way soon with this battle for second. And Ella's actually going to try and get a little draft off the 84. Saw if he can get close enough to do so. It's going to affect Hearn more than Elwood.
That's going to hurt.
Here comes Elwood. Massive run to the bumper of Hearn. Not going to be enough to pull alongside, but he's still going to stick his nose out. Has a nose down there to the inside of Hearn for a second. This battle continues off turn 3 and down the long pond straightaway, the front stretch.
Oh.
49 Elwood loose as he was just trying to get the car rotated. It's being stuck on the inside. See Cameron Hearn already all the way down, probably pretty much as low as he can go down on the front straight. We're going to come back up towards the wall hard, just trying to break the draft.
Yeah, meanwhile, it's odd that they did catch the 28 while doing that the first time. It's now 5.2 seconds, so it didn't help that next time, as Fairness has no fuel issues. Thought that might be something that we could talk about, because I haven't heard him coast once, but we've heard Elwood have to. I think that's because Elwood's shifting in turn 3, and he might even be doing it in turn 1. I haven't heard Fairness shift once. He should be good, coming to 15 to go next time by. Setting the pace as he has. I don't know if, I think only Therian has been the other one to lead a lap. Everyone else, nothing for the 28 tonight.
Continuing to follow this pursuit as Therian holds on to 8th, Tommy Ryan in 9th, and Ryan Hart's over here in the Twitch chat. If I'm Elwood, I need to go now.
Yeah, I think Elwood can't afford to wait. He's looking faster. His tires are looking better, in better condition than the 67. He's got that drivability off the corner. The more he pushes, I think he's going to start losing that ability. He gets really tight off of turn 1 there. Almost taps the wall. So, yeah, I agree with Ryan Hartz. Don't wait. Try to go now. Going to start running out of time here.
Yeah, he probably should try to pass him at any point he can, but I hope he doesn't mean to pass him now to have a chance at the win, because I don't think even if he got by Hearn at this point, he would have anything for John Furness. But I would definitely rather make the move early. You don't really want to set it up for you only have one chance. You probably should rather take a chance at passing him. If he gets back by you, try to pass him again.
Well, speaking of pass again, looks like Greg Mitchell's going to have to try and pass the 5 with Grant again to get into the 6th position, because Grant holds that spot, riding aboard the bumper of the number 5. Needing a good finish here to not put himself in a point pickle at Talladega. Seems like he's doing just a good job of doing that.
Yeah, other than really solid night for him, other than a little bit of damage to that right front. You see him dive hard on entry, and then loses on exit. Garrett Grant's been really good at getting a better exit than the 2. And then Mitchell has to spend the entire straightaway catching back up. Looking further back. James Scully, his progress trying to drive through the field. I think he'll have a shot of breaking back inside the top 10. I don't really think he can do much better, though. Currently sitting in 15th. David White's are in close pursuit back in 18th.
He is still about close to a second faster than Colin Farnborough, who's runner rounding out the top 10, but I don't think he'll get there. I don't think the pace will last that long, but we'll just have to wait and see. David Weishart's on the same strategy, but he's kind of lost Scioli a little bit, 2 seconds back. He's still yet to pass. Actually, did just pass Tom Bourne. Now he's passing Steve Durham, so that should only put Paul Irvin between him and Scioli. Still looking at that battle for second. Elwood hasn't done anything since we last looked, so those two still nose to tail. And one guy we haven't talked about the second run is Chris Rabel, because he is on his own. He's 4 seconds behind third place, and he's 4 seconds ahead of fifth place. So running all on his own here.
Probably the best place to be at on the track. You have no one near you catching you, or that one car got really high.
Ooey.
That was Coey in the 24. Got really high there, but like I said, perfect place to be in. No one catching you, and well, you're not really catching the cars in front of you. You're kind of just riding your own, mind your own business, staying out of trouble. That's the most important part.
Indeed, and everyone's done a really solid job of keeping out of trouble tonight so far. Getting no cautions to slow down the evening. Colin Famero looking at him. Started off pretty well for him in third place, drifted all the way back to 10th, and potentially further back. Ackley and Beckner in behind battling, and they're also looking pretty quick.
Garrett Grant just made the pass on Seth Noel, as Travis Beckner actually might have hit the wall in turn 1. He got very close to it. He's going to actually get the run on Rob Ackley, but I was really looking more at Seth Noel losing the spot to Garrett Grant, so put Grant into the top 5. We'll see if the 93 can do anything about that. And Greg Mitchell, he's probably just destined for 7th or worse at this point. He can do stuff into the corners, but that damage is really hindering him down the straightaways more than anything, Hunter.
Yeah, right behind Mitchell is actually Shane Therian there, so he's kind of in a point pickle as well. If you recall, he got disqualified from Darlington, so he ended up finishing dead last and then got suspended, so he missed the next race. And he's kind of trying to put himself back inside that top 20. Do you remember he got to win at Daytona? You got to be inside the top 20 in points with the win if you want to be locked into the postseason, and he entered tonight 11 points behind, so he's also kind of put himself in a pickle here. He's going to need to get all the points he can just to stay inside the top 20. He doesn't need to win next week, although a win would most certainly help his case for it, but just need to be enough points inside the top 20, and right now he's running in 8th, so it wouldn't surprise me if he tries to apply the pressure just a little bit to get around Mitchell, but Tommy Ryan all over his bumper, not making that easy.
I was going to say, Tommy Ryan's mounting a lot of pressure on him at the moment. He's going to go a little bit tighter into turn 3, go more defensive. Connor?
I was looking at Munsell. He became the next driver to put his right side into the outside wall. He put it onto the outside wall exiting turn 2, although he's all by himself, so it shouldn't hurt him too much. He's still running 13th, and looking at those points, Thielen came 11 behind Matthew Cochran as they lapped the 24, him and Tommy Ryan. He came 11 points behind Cochran, so he's running much further up the field than the 4 machine is. Cochran's about 23rd, right in front of the leader, as a matter of fact, so I would assume he should be in the top 20, but you need to get every point you can. I'm sure Therian knows the situation he's in, although he can't do anything about Tommy Ryan getting by him. The 99 putting too much pressure on him more than he'd like, so put the 99 machine up to 8th position, as all those guys almost hit the outside wall, and this battle for second still neck and neck, but Elwood cannot do anything anymore. It doesn't seem.
He slid up in turn 3, not going to help him at all, but you're going to see the line here coming out of turn 3, what turn 4? Being led by Garrett Grant there in the 5. They got really close there between them and lap car of Coey, but they seem like they've got things sorted out. This battle for second, not really picking up just yet. Still almost 5 seconds behind race leader John Furness, who's catching lap traffic in front of him.
Keeping an eye on him as he works through traffic. Got past Matt Cochran, and the number 4 machine now looking at trying to get past the 47. Mike Tillier, only running in 26th. Otherwise, it's been a really, really solid day for the 28. You can really argue it could get much better than this. Led a huge amount of laps so far. Led 52 laps tonight. Out of, I think, out of 62 we run, 61, 62 that we run. So, really solid job in behind them.
What's going on
a game
back
of
there?
snake down the front straightaway. Cameron Hearn, Alan Elwood about to head side by side into turn 1.
I was surprised he gave him the top. I would have given the 49 the bottom and just let him either get himself tight or do that. Actually, that's probably, he knows more than me. I should have known that bump would catch someone out, but look at the run the 49's going to get down Long Pond straightaway, the worst straightaway on this track to not have the better run, as here comes the 49. The only problem is he's not going to be able to do anything before Long Pond really lays it to the back bumper of the 67 into the tunnel turn.
Ooh, massive run here coming from Elwood out of the tunnel turn. Going to get close to the bumper of Hearn again. He has enough momentum, dives down to the inside. Going to look for that second spot, heading into turn 3. Hearn on the outside, trying to fight for everything he can. Remember, doesn't have a win, needs all the points he can get. Elwood keeping it tough down on the bottom, but Hearn with the run on the outside, keeping him in second for now.
Drag race down the front straightaway. Cameron Hearn getting that better run off the corner. Alan Elwood now just trying to side draft, do something to slow it down to 67. Into turn 1, they head again, nose to tail. Oh, they're going to touch into turn 1. Cameron Hearn going to get knocked off line. Contact.
That was the old Coke Series driver arc out. That's what I would call that maneuver. I've had that happen to me too many times. Just really with that, I would put that down to Elwood. Kind of just never turned into the corner early enough and just kind of ran Hearn out of any room to make that corner entry.
Take a look at the onboard here, the in-car. Definitely caught Cameron Hearn by surprise. Did not fence it either.
Ooh, Shane Therian almost hit the wall out of a tunnel turn as that battle for second not over quite yet. Although I assume Alan Elwood, he probably wishes it was over. He does not want Cameron Hearn getting back to him, I would imagine.
Well, they've had a contact a couple of times this season, so Hearn has been on the receiving end of it, so I'm not sure if he's going to put up with that anymore or if he's just going to keep his calm and try to maintain this third place run, possibly make it a second place run, although I don't think he'll be afraid to use the bumper there this time by. Remember, this is the place where Jeremy Mayfield rattled the cage of Dale Sr.
Yeah, the thing is, when you perform a maneuver like that, you want to make sure you either take out the guy or make sure he loses a lot of time to the point where he can't catch back up to you to enact any revenge. Elwood didn't do either of that, and Hearn, as we mentioned, is right in behind him, and I'm sure he's definitely going to enact some sort of revenge because he just got knocked out of the way. I'm sure Hearn's got something planned. As we come to the line here, it's going to be 5 laps to go to these guys. There's Furnace in the white car coming down the front straightaway. There's the gap to the lead. I think either of these two guys are going to probably catch it because they're a little bit too focused on each other at the moment.
Yeah, Chris Rabel's in a catbird seat for a podium at this rate. I don't think the 67 is going to get there without really shoving it into a corner. The problem with it is I don't think Elwood did that really on purpose. He just really didn't turn for the corner early enough. I don't think it was on purpose. It's always possible it was, but I don't think so. But as Cameron Hearn gets closer and closer, I'm willing to bet a lot of money that he does not care whether it was intentional or not.
Looking a little further back, Tommy Ryan, Greg Mitchell, nose to tail heading off into turn 2.
Shea Therian kind of lost these guys. I said he almost hit the wall out of a tunnel turn. Battle for 10th is brewing as well. Fambro, Rob Ackley, Travis Beckner on top of each other. Literally on top of each other as Justin Munsell a little further back is about to be under pressure from James Scioli, who's about to crack the top 14.
These battles are starting to heat up all over the place. Inside the top 10, outside the top 10. Right here, Beckner on the inside of Ackley for the 11th spot as Seth Noel. Well, not Seth Noel. That's Colin Fambro drives away from it. Seth Noel still sitting in the 6th position. Got passed by Garrett Grant. Not sure when that happened, but he's got the 2 of Greg Mitchell now all over his bumper.
Greg Mitchell still dealing with Ryan heading off into turn 2. Looking back at this battle, Hearn gets very close off of turn 2. I'm curious, though, does he have enough car to catch back up to the 49?
I think he's faster everywhere but the tunnel turn, but where he's slower in the tunnel turn, he's losing so much time there. He was so close to getting to the bumper of Elwood, but that dirty air in the tunnel turn, you really can't avoid it like you can in some of the other corners, depending on where you enter the corner. You're really pretty much at the dirty air's mercy in that tunnel turn. That's where he's lost his time. The draft is bringing him back, but I don't think it's going to be enough. But we'll see here, 3 laps to go.
We'll see if Hearn can get back to Alan Elwood, stayed within 2 car lengths or so. It seems like Elwood's trying to put on the afterburners and get away from the 67 as far away as he can. See if Hearn can chase him down.
Fortunately, can't avoid that slipstream. Doesn't help a huge amount, but it helps a little bit. It can definitely help enough to build up momentum to make a pass. Although Hearn's really struggling to kind of break the 0.2 of a second barrier. Tommy Ryan throwing it to the inside of Greg Mitchell. off into tunnel turn. He will move up into 7th place here as the laps wind down. Also want to give an update on James Kyle and his strategy. You can argue hasn't quite worked out as much as he would have hoped. He's only caught up to 14th. He's catching up to Munsell up ahead, who I think he should overtake. So up to 13th for the 7th. It was 7 car. It was definitely worth a try. Didn't quite work out.
Also looking at the battle for 10th is still hitting up. Fambro's holding on to it for now, but Rob Ackley and Travis Beckner, they're really trying to decide who gets the 18 first, but in doing that, it's really a matter of who gets the 18 at all, as now we're down to 2 laps to go, more like a lap and a half to go, because that's how far ahead the 28 of Furnace has been all race long, pretty much over 5.5 seconds. Back
Beckner.
to Alan Elwood as Beckner's really
He's running
way.
the Larson line.
He's been doing that, but it's been working surprisingly. Still looking at his battle for 2nd as Beckner tries that line in turn 1. Didn't quite work there, but
Oh!
he's still there though. He didn't really lose much time from hitting the wall.
Imagine if he didn't hit the wall. He
Oh,
might
here
have
he
had a
Oh,
shot.
he's giving it
Oh,
back.
he
There
got
it is.
That's the
You saw
same
that
corner
coming.
too. He's trying to rattle his cage.
You did a
First,
lap.
he's gonna come around and take the white flag, but the battle for 2nd is what we're keeping our eyes on. They are still side by side down the front stretch for the 2nd spot.
This is not going to end well. This is not going to end
No,
well
it's
for
not.
someone here
No.
heading off into turn 1. I
Yes,
think.
there is.
I
It's
think.
going to end well for Chris Rabel at this rate. Elwood's going to let him go and probably give it back to him, I would assume.
We'll see. I would argue Hearn did that maybe 1 lap too early. We'll see here. Elwood still has a chance at retaliation. For the retaliation from Cameron Hearn. Hearn trying to get away as fast as possible. He's got 2 more turns to navigate. No contest for John Furness up ahead. We keep an eye on this close battle.
Yeah, once again, can't stress enough how great of a run Furness has had. We were talking about it all season long. When's he going to win? When's he going to win? How has he not won yet? He finally did.
Here comes Elwood looking to the inside. Furness has got the victory locked up. Elwood trying to take 2nd away from Cameron Hearn. Hearn trying to fight on the outside. Elwood can lean on him if he has to. It's going to be a dogfight here coming out of turn 3. Furness is going to take his 2nd straight victory. Meanwhile, in the back, Hearn and Elwood side by side, and Hearn's going to get it at the line.
Solid fight for them, and as we mentioned, John Furness taking home the victory in utter dominating fashion as we had that heated side-by-side battle to the line. Chris Rabel coming home in 4th place with Garrett Grant in 5th place, and they'll trickle across the line. That was a lot cleaner than I was expecting that last lap to be.
Yeah, I thought it was going to get way worse than that, but good job by them for at least keeping it clean for the very end. They came to blows, but all in all, still finished 2nd and 3rd. Rabel, Grant, the top 5, Noel, Ryan, Mitchell, Therian. Rob Ackley got Fambro. He did win that battle for 10th, Fambro 11th, but pretty exciting. Pocono definitely delivered. This pit strategy didn't work out for Scioli, but wow, what a job. John Furness, I think he's heating up at the right time.
Without a doubt, kind of like reminiscent of Chase Elliott after he got his first win. You just start rattling off just like that. All it takes is one, and that he's got 2 in a row. Could make it 3 in a row at Talladega. That would be something if he could do that there, because that is such a wild car race. Anyone can win that. And back to the battle for 2nd. I mean, Alan Elwood had to knew that something was coming when he saw Cameron Hearn coming out of turn 2, pancake the tunnel turn wall, and was still right within his bumper. Now they knew that something was coming.
John Furness taking it slowly around turn number 3, trying to make sure he has enough fuel for some burnouts here. We'll see how much he saved.
If at all.
Saved enough. I think he's got enough.
I would hope. That's usually that's how I always get you when everyone's saving fuel in a real life race. You don't think they're gonna make it, then they do make it, then they can do a bunch of burnouts. The last time I didn't see that didn't happen, Austin Dillon did like 1 burnout and ran out. Or Casey Mears, but as you can see, with 28 has more than enough for a few burnouts.
Oh no, that was Austin Dillon. He had that 1 slide at the Coke 600, and that was that.
Yep, Mears had none.
Not sure if it'll catch in the picture, but Bryce Anasak had a up-close shot of this burnout.
Oh, look at that. He's got plenty
his
of
car
fuel.
was parked right on the front.
He's got more than enough. He's just showing off at this point.
Hey, Denny Hamlin did this at Pocono when he
Yeah,
won for
but he hit the
half
wall.
hour.
He hit the wall doing it.
He failed inspection for it. Oh, I was talking about this year.
Oh, he did it this year too, but I remember, I think it was like 2010, he hit the wall doing it.
Yep.
As he continues to show exactly how much fuel he has left in the car, which seems to be quite a bit. start going over our race results here. We talked about Furnace just absolutely going out there and dominating the competition. Moving on back to second place, Cameron and Alan Elwood fighting side by side to the line in a relatively clean battle between the two of them. Hats off to both of them to keep it clean and exciting. Chris Rabel, Garrett Grant rounding out your top 5.
And Seth Noel, the great climb, got into a top 5 for the time being, from all the way from 29th. He had to settle for 6th. Garrett Grant got him. Tommy Ryan, Greg Mitchell, Shane Therian rounding out the top 10. Rob Ackley with a great run as well. He just got Fambro at the end.
And then looking through for the rest of your finishing order outside the top 10, these guys, they were just trying to make it through. Some of these guys are like Wildstart Sky, only 13th and 16th, didn't quite get to the top 10 there. Fambro just a spot shy of that top 10. Beckner 12th as well. Swervin Urban 17th. Steve Durham, Tom Bourne, didn't work out for him. The long run speed was just not there. Ricky Harden 20th.
We are back to 21st, going to be Ford Smith, Jeff Ryan, Matthew Cochran, James Coey, Jacob Hudson, Mike Tillier, Brian Chambliss, Ed Robertson. And actually going to page through it again. Always had that glitch. There we go. Get the last two. Jeremy Rigney rounding out. 29 guys that took the green flag. I don't think Justin Lemke started the race.
No, he did not.
He did not. So 29 drivers that started. And 27 of them finished because we didn't really have any major incidents here. Relatively clean race from everyone out there. Some solid racing indeed, especially from the guys near the front, especially towards the end. Get a chance to talk to them. You'll see who we got waiting in the booth. We'll talk to third place finisher first, Alan Elwood. Alan, SimTV booth, you got a copy?
Yeah, I got you guys.
Well, that was an exciting last few laps between yourself and Cameron Hearn. Did you try to purposely get into him in turn one? Was that more of an accident? Walk us through that last sequence there.
No, that was farthest from intentional that anything could ever be. I mean, he's racing hard because he needs to get in the playoffs. I know he was around the cut line, and rightfully so. I let him go. I was trying to save some tire to maybe somehow catch John. Just got a little bit too far back coming out of pit road, and so I was, trying a little bit since you basically only could make it on one stop to make it work. So I'm like, well, if I save tire, maybe I'll have it's a big track, maybe I'll have some time to catch up. And I caught up to Cameron again, and then when you're behind somebody, it kills your tires. So a few times I tried to get by him and I couldn't do it. Tried to shift and see if anything would work. Eventually got a good run because you just have to wait on somebody to try to make a mistake, and I think I got through the tunnel once a little better. And we were side by side. He kind of let up going into the turn, and I was just following my line, and I think he thought I was going to turn a little sooner, and we just kind of met where we did. So I'm sorry that there was contact, but I thought it was just hard racing and nothing farthest from intentional. Hard racing, and like I said, he's got to do what he's got to do to try to get in the playoffs. So every point for him matters.
Definitely was exciting to watch. I also want to ask you, earlier in the run we saw you falling off. You looked like you caught up to Furnace, and then you slowly started drifting back. Were you trying to save fuel to make sure you can make it, or were you just starting to lose out on the tire life?
Yeah, that was another thing with the tires was I realized if I could try to push it one extra lap, that might have been the difference to try and, have that extra lap on John. So I tried clutching and saving a little bit, and I was so close to making it one extra lap. I think I was like 0.2 off. So it was really close, but in the end, that's what ended up costing me was I was trying to get that extra time. So, got to try something. When you're behind somebody, it's really hard. So you got to try to get an advantage any way you can. And just didn't work out, but we'll take a good finish going into Talladega.
Definitely a solid finish, top 3 finish for you, Alan. Thanks for talking to us, and good luck going to next week at Talladega.
Appreciate it, guys. Just want to give a quick shout out to Simrat Market, Sky Motorsports. Everybody, I think, pretty much had a good run tonight. So, thanks to you guys that were in the booth and everybody here at Area. And we'll have an exciting next week.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you. And moving on to our second place interview, Cameron Hearn. Cameron, we saw you have an exciting battle with Alan. We were just talking to him. What's your version of the events that went on down into turn one?
I listened to his interview. I love Alan. I've been around for so long, but that's the biggest crap. Yes, I'm just kidding. He was racing me hard. I don't know where he expected me to go if it wasn't intentional because I was pretty far up there, and but luckily I was able to save it. and I'm not gonna say I saw red, but I saw a reddish tint. And I had my mind up that if I made it back to him, I'm not going to wreck Allen. I have a lot of respect for him, but I'm definitely going to make sure that I give him a little bump to give me a chance on the inside. And I did it a lap early, which is my mistake. So here I am mirror driving the whole last lap thinking that this dude's about to come in the corner and just, do the same thing to me. But I actually messed up the tunnel turn so bad. I was struggling there all night. He got an inside run on me and raced me clean. He didn't wash up really, raced me clean. So I appreciate that. Overall, it's just hard racing, and it's nice that you can race like that, still finish second and third, and pretty much, bring the cars in one piece, not a lot of damage or anything. So it was a good battle. It was fun.
Yeah, looking at your race, you obviously went from 6th to 2nd. Were you hoping for a caution at any point to kind of get yourself to get back at a chance of getting to the 28, or did you kind of figure that there wasn't going to be much of a chance of a caution after a couple laps in?
I was honestly content with 2nd or 3rd. The way my year's gone, I've been in top 5 laps to go. Caution comes out and I finished 25th. So I was kind of okay with that. John was fast all night. I think clean air was a huge advantage, but the dude was so consistent. I would struggle here and there every other lap, tenth, 2 tenths on and off, and he was just consistent. I think the fastest guy won the race, and that's kind of what you want to see sometimes. I know there's some weird strategy where guys try to two-stop it, but I think the fastest guy won, and this late to the season, you kind of want to see that happen, so hats off to him. But I was probably top 5 speed, coming home second. I'm really happy with that.
Yeah, definitely a solid finish, and should put you up a couple places in the points as well. So, Cameron, congratulations on your solid second place finish, and good luck next week heading to Talladega.
I appreciate you guys, everything you do for the broadcast. Appreciate all the admins tonight. Thank you.
All right, moving up, John Furness be the last driver we interview. And hey, John, you got a copy?
Yeah, 10-4, I got you.
All right, John. Well, it was a relatively uneventful day for you in the office. I actually want to even check too how many laps you led. It was quite a few. 61 laps of 70, so I think it's safe to say you dominated this race we're talking about on the broadcast. You honestly didn't get that much airtime because you were just so far out ahead of the competition. All the rest of the battles were much further on back. How were you able to do it? Just walk us through how you're able to accomplish it.
Hey man, I'll take a win and no airtime every week if I could. But really, it's quite an uneventful race. I mean, Allen got close there that first run with me, but track position is just it's king here for sure. And I was able to really take care of my stuff that first run and keep Allen behind me and just take it easy and then try and save some fuel, make it to halfway. And yeah, just did 2 stints like that. I was hoping that we didn't get a caution because I know James and a couple of them guys were on a 2-stop strategy, and that would have ruined everything for us because, track position is just so important here. But it was still a lot of fun. It's a challenging racetrack for sure. Uneventful, but a lot of fun. Glad to get another win.
Yeah, and also wanted to ask you about that too. Did you at any point consider doing a 2-stop strategy, or was it going to be 1 stop from the get-go?
Nope, absolutely not. I knew I could make it about 35 laps, and I ran pretty good there for the first 20, and then I was in save mode, just making sure I could get to 35, trying to get to 36, just to be safe. Didn't work out though, but I knew right then I would make it to the end, just hoping that we didn't have any cautions. So it was kind of nice actually. A lot of times these things are caution fest, and I can't stand that. I love it when it goes green as long as it can.
Well, John, solid in the office for you. Back-to-back wins at both New Hampshire and at Pocono here, right before the playoffs kick off. Solid job to you. Congrats. Good luck next week at Talladega and for the rest of the playoffs.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. It was a good run for the Fazekas Motorsports team as a whole. My teammates did a great job coming up through the field. I think we all got top 10s. That's 2 weeks in a row, so really proud of that. Proud of the whole team, all our sponsors, NAI, DeLeo Bram, Magyar Bank, Eat Sleep Race, D&E Excavating, Walton Insurance, the whole group. and appreciate you guys putting on the broadcast for us. I like to go back and watch these. It's pretty entertaining. Although I guess I won't see myself this week, but I'm good with it. I'm good with it. I'm good with
Nah,
it.
you got a decent amount of airtime. It wasn't that bad. Weren't really in any battles though. That's the only unfortunate part. Most of the time, it's just you up ahead, like 5 seconds ahead of anyone else. But John, again, congratulations.
This isn't the track for battles, is it? But I was glad to come here today. So a lot of fun.
All right, and with that, that'll wrap up interviews here from Pocono, guys. Final comments, Connor?
Well, played out like a Pocono race. That's all I have to say. But
Is that a
we
good
had
thing or a bad
battles.
thing?
Got spread out, had some long runs, which you really don't see a lot of wrecks at Pocono unless it's a short race, and especially in league races, I've never seen a race go with a bunch of yellows at Pocono. So I think, like I said, they went normal for Pocono standards, got some long runs, got spread out, but we had good battles around the field. We had a great battle for second, had a great battle for 10th, and we had battles for drivers coming through the field on separate strategies with Scioli and Weishart. So it played out pretty nicely, had some exciting moments for sure, and at the end of the day, that 28 was too darn fast out there.
Indeed, he was too fast. Looking back at it, the first cup race we had here went caution-free, so in reverse order, the next Xfinity race we had here, or Lodgebox race with Xfinity cars, went caution-free as well. But overall, that was an interesting race there at the very end with Hearn and Elwood. But I'm looking forward to Talladega next week. All 3 series going, the Cup, the Truck, and the Lodgebox series. It is the crunch time, boys. It's time to slim down the playoff field and who makes it and who doesn't make it.
Exactly. It's going to be fantastic to watch. And again, you can tune into it next week here at the Area iRacing Twitch channel and also on Sim TV all next week, all at Talladega, to determine the 12 drivers that will be moving on to the playoffs in all 3 series, Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday night. But for now, we'll be signing off here at Sim TV. My name is Finney Kuna here with Connor Horn and Hunter Sleppy. Thank you so much for watching.